Hey, what's up, y'all? It is late Friday night. I woke up out of my sleep and wanted to put together a quick message for you guys. So, my name is Joshua Betancourt for anyone who's just joining, and I, you know, provide talks and guidance around things related to personal development and personal growth, right? Conscientious awareness. I'm an NLP practitioner and an esoteric student, I guess is the right way to say it. So, yeah, welcome to the channel. This is all about expansion and growth and kind of evolution. And yeah, putting together a message tonight. This is paradigm shifting. Welcome. Tonight's an unusual night. There's a full moon out, and I don't necessarily usually talk about astrology. I'm not, a dedicated follower of the practice of astrology or anything like that. But tonight is an interesting night in the sense that it is a strawberry moon, a strawberry full moon. In fact, we had a lunar eclipse that wasn't visible here in North America, but took place between 1:45 and 5 p.m. Below the equator, which is cool. And the reason I mentioned that is because like over the last, I don't know, couple of days, it's been just really interesting, right? As far as transitioning and as far as, personal growth for me, speaking personally, and, my practice and all of that stuff. So it's been cool. A lot of change and a lot of opportunity that's presented itself to me recently. And I think that it resonates with the state of the world, right? And where we're at and where we find ourselves. So I wanted to put this message together to talk a little bit about that and yeah, and give some guidance related to my thoughts around that. So I wanted to go. It's strange, right? So I woke up and I wanted to go out, because there's a little place down the street that is staying open and people are gathering together and practicing social distancing and stuff. And then something came over me and it was like, no, stay and share a message. So there's a couple of things that I wanted to mention. So one was the strawberry moon. For any of you who are in the process of like working on an idea or thinking about embarking on a new endeavor or thinking about starting a new either program or project, there's no better time than right now to write that down, just because of the kind of the energetic state that we're in, right? There's a huge opportunity for shifting and change. It's also a really important time to kind of assess your personal relationships and if there's work to be done on those relationships, right? If you feel like you're out of accord or out of balance with people that you love and that it's a really, really good time right now to have those conversations, right? And to start to work on resolution to any external relationships that you have. So I thought I would mention that. The other thing that I wanted to mention is I am I'm a subscriber to Gaia, right? So there's a Gaia television network that puts out some interesting, what I find is interesting content, right? It's kind of, just forward thinking, metaphysical, kind of internal spiritual content that this channel is basically based on. And they have a program that I've been paying attention to. It's called Transcendence. I think you can get it on Amazon. It is fascinating, right? It's a really well arranged and put together with the idea of speaking to some of the kind of principles that are just very beneficial, right? And very kind of enlightening and catalyst for change. So I thought that I would mention that Transcendence program is really cool. I'm really, really digging it right now. So yeah, that's what I wanted to say. What else did I want to mention? You know, it's funny. There is like so. The other day, I took Vela out for a run. I live close to a trail that runs from just outside of Atlanta all the way to Alabama. It was an old railroad track that got converted into a paved path, and the people get on there and they rollerblade and they bike and they do all of this stuff. And I got out a couple of days ago with Vela, and I wanted to go for a run. So we started running, but it was different in the sense that usually when I run, I'm just kind of thinking about whatever's on my mind, right? But this time, I had an intention of trying to create a peak state as I was running, and I guess more specifically, try to create a meditative state as I was running. So I've got some pre-recorded meditations that I listened to, and I threw it. I grabbed my phone, and they're saved on my phone or whatever. So I took some headphones with me this time and took my phone and got out there and just started to basically elicit this, this peak state, right? This meditative state while being in movement, while being in action. And first, well, I've done it before, but I'll say that this time there was just a stronger ability to remain in that meditative state. And it was a really, really profound experience for me because at the end of it, it was like, the realization of being able to embody, right, any state that you desire regularly at will, just with the ability to focus your attention and focus your awareness on that state. Uh, it was powerful, right? So there was, other experiences related to that, but I think the message behind that story is that, as we progress, right, towards this thing that is growth, expansion, transition, transmutation of our traditional ways of being, right, of our traditional form of existence, for those of you that are, right, growing in that way, don't be afraid to venture out and try things that are different or try things that challenge you. And I think that aligns perfectly with what's happening with, the moon and kind of all of the energies that are happening. Is don't be afraid to, again, venture out beyond what you're familiar with. I think that when we do that, we expand our horizons and we expand our perspectives on what is possible for us personally, as well as for the experience that we have in the world. And in doing so, we grow, right? We expand. We find out that there is more to what we are and what we're capable of than we had originally than we were originally aware of or that we had anticipated. And those experiences are they're beautiful, right? They're enlightening, they're beautiful. And that run with her was absolutely amazing. There was so much insight and there was so much awareness. And it was crazy because as I was running, I was just paying attention to, the animals and the birds and the experience and other people on the trail and trying to listen to my intuition. And something told me to stop and turn around, and I was probably 2 miles into it, but I did. There was a bird that came out and just followed me for a little while, like would land beside us while we were running and continued pacing with us, and then stopped right in front of this overpass that you have to cross under as you're running. And I just had this intuitive sense to turn around. And as we turned around and started back on the run back, this beautiful, beautiful, massive red-tailed hawk just came out of nowhere and basically did the same thing that the bird did for, I would say maybe 5 minutes, right? Stayed with us and then just perched on a tree. And so I took some photos with my camera, I had my camera with me or whatever. But it's that sense of paying attention to your internal direction, right? To that, intuition, to that voice in your head, and putting a certain amount of confidence and faith in those messages that you receive, or that that intuition that you receive about the direction and the path of your life. So often we get consumed by everything that is outside of us and everything that we're conditioned to be paying attention to, that we forget to take moments and time to focus on the sacred, right? Focus on our self-care, our internal development, our sixth sense, our awareness, the things that really bring meaning and joy and compassion and love into this experience of life. So I would urge everyone to not forget about that intuitive aspect of yourself, about that, that inner voice and that inner direction that guides you and leads you. It usually is, related to kind of your divine purpose or your higher purpose, or what it is that you're driving towards in the time that you're here. So I think that's a really, really beautiful thing. What else is going on? That's it. I think, I just wanted to get online and talk to you guys a little bit, and share those thoughts. Something compelled me to do so, and I, yeah, that's what I've done. So I hope that everyone goes into the weekend feeling happy and courageous and strong, and faithful in the outcome of the things that we're experiencing in the world today. I know that there is a significant amount of transition and change, and you know. And though it may be challenging and difficult for some people, it is it's I believe a natural progression of what the outcome of what we're becoming as individuals, as individuals within a community, within a country, within the world, right, as humanity at large. And so, I would say just, remain confident and remain diligent. Think about the things that you can give back and how you might be able to contribute. And it doesn't have to be on a large scale, right? You know, it's it really is, right? I honestly believe that the true power of change that's coming is related to each one of us doing a small part to make the world a better place, even if it's just for the people in our immediate circle, right? Carrying this frequency and this thought around how we might, however minuscule it may seem, how we might be able to contribute to making the world a better place, and that is done through acts of service and acts of love, and carrying a frequency. And this is important, and I'll make this the last point. I talk about frequency a lot in these talks, energetic states, and I'm sure most of you are familiar with it. But the end result of that frequency is really related to how we feel it, right? That's an amazing aspect of being alive. And all sentient beings have this, is this association with frequency and emotion. So when I talk about being in that state or being in that frequency, it really is about resonating within a particular emotion that's beneficial to the world. And naturally we have these kind of ebbs and flows, right? These peaks and valleys related to emotion and our sensory perception based on kind of everything that we believe it to be about ourselves or perceive in the world about this experience. So we can go down the rabbit hole on that, but what I'm getting at is that it's kind of important for us right now, because there's so much negativity in the world. There's so much concern and fear and worry and anxiety in the world related to everything that's happening and the shift that's taking place, that many of us lose focus on really being able to resonate in these frequencies that help shift humanity at large, right? So if there's opportunities for you to be a beacon of joy, right, or compassion, right, or patience, because that's an important one, and kind of resonating in the thought of that, right, and like embodying the expression of those things, now more than ever, it's extremely important to do that. It's extremely important to do that. It will not only benefit you, right? First and foremost, it will benefit you, right? Your health, your physiology, the entire makeup of what you are. But it also will impact the experience that you're having and everyone who comes into contact with that experience that you're having. So, yeah, do that. If there's something that makes you happy, if I don't know if it's watching a comedy, or I remember a long time ago, I was ill for, I caught the flu or something. I just felt terrible. And I have the entire series of Family Guy, right? So, I was at home for 3 or 4 days and I just binged out laughing nonstop on Family Guy. Do things like that, right? To make those experiences available to the people in your immediate circle, right? Make your kids laugh, have joyful and loving and special moments with, the people that you love, and intentionally create those. So there's two aspects of it. It's the intention to create it mentally, right? That ultimately exercises an action that is an expression here. But there's also the aspect of what does that feel like? And how can I recreate that sense of that expression, whether it's joy, love, compassion, patience, whatever it is? How do I recreate that and make that feeling, come about inside of myself? Because when you bring the two together that they have uh, the strongest effect on other people, on yourself. So a way that you can do that is really to recall a time when you felt that, and recall it as clearly as you possibly can. It's as simple as closing your eyes and reimagining that moment with every detail that you possibly can. And slowly, as you remember, recall, right, all of the neural networks in your mind are going to fire, and they're going to somewhat recreate the chemical expression within your mind that in turn will subsequently create the emotional expression within your body. So do that. I mean, like, do that. When it comes to joy, when it comes to love, and be an expression of that. The more that we do that, the more consistently that we do that, the stronger impact that we have on making that experience a reality for not only ourselves but for other people. Whew, that was a mouthful. All right, it is Friday night. It's late. It's 11:45. Wow. I hope that you all are well. That you take care of yourselves. That you take care of your loved ones. That you stay healthy. That you stay safe. Chin up. Don't fret. Things will get better. And in a big way. I really, really believe that. Yeah, that's the message for tonight. So thanks for your time. We've run 17 minutes, so I think I'm going to call it. I love you guys. I really, really do love you guys. I mean that. Reach out. Don't be strangers. I hope that these messages are inspirational and helpful and provide just a pointer to the things that you already know are true about yourself and about the world, right? And then that they also inspire action and expression in a way that makes the experience that you're having just more beautiful, more loving. Just improves the quality of it and all that good stuff. So thank you again. I really appreciate you guys being here. This is Paradigm Shifting.